Afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day, free enterprise fans around the world. And welcome to this exciting Blue Moon Waning bracket matchup between Engidave and JMac the Librarian, two very good friends in the free enterprise community. My name is Possum Morpheus, and I am joined behind the scenes by X Pancraz on Restream, by Mecha on tracking, and by the one and only Night Dew, the man, the myth, the legend, as my co-commentator today. Naitu, how you doing this afternoon?
Really nice. I am looking at these. I can hear those in my head. But yeah, we're doing very well today here. Yeah, just Blue Moon Waning between Engidave and JMac. Two runners we both know quite well at this point here. So yeah, definitely hyped for today's match here.
Yeah, definitely a great match, and I gotta say I appreciate the runners combining forces for a little bit of song shenaniganery on their naming schemes here. But the answer to the question why shirtless Golbez is because best Golbez.
Absolutely, yeah. Shirtless Golbez, if you've got it, and Shirtless Golbez definitely has it. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, I will say that I'm quite happy to see Palom named Golbez on JMAC's side. That's fantastic because Golbez is well known for casting Virus and Fire 2 and Lit 3, and so is Palom.
Yeah.
A little bit
So
more Quake, but those three spells too.
Golbez could always expand his repertoire, get Quake. I mean, actually, I believe in that final battle in Vanilla, I believe he also pulls out a Meteo, I believe, as well. So
Oh,
he's got that
doesn't
going for him as
everybody?
well. Well, yeah, but I mean, hey, everybody loves rocks.
That's true. Uh, we do have, speaking of rocks, we have an evil wall, which I think is probably comprised of some form of rock, and seven other bosses that have joined the fray today. We have the Gauntlet, we have the Golbez, we have some flavor of Mylon. I want to say that's Mylon and Friends. We have the Baron Guards, we have Baigen, we have Val, we have Ogopogo. So outside of Mylon and Friends and Baron Guards, that is six bosses that, depending where they are, we could be in for a time.
Yeah, this very almost they almost drew a complete Red Moon a boss set here with all those. And especially the only two guaranteed here are the Fabul Gauntlet and Golbez. So drawing four of those nasty bosses, especially where you might fight them. Um, Baigen, Val, Ogopogo, and the Wall, especially like you said, depending on where we find them, can be very character building to find. And I just finally see our starter. That's a Rosa here, as I do believe the gate is dropped and we are about to head in here.
Yeah, Rosa, we have a boy band naming scheme. We have the target audience in Rosa for the boy bands. We got Sid making sure that Rosa is appropriately chaperoned to the concert. And we have King Queen Eblin handing over a spoon. Edward, normally just kind of a bard playing music that nobody wants to hear. Uh, well, that spoon makes Eddie kind of the big bad guy for the team, and would absolutely do a ton of damage with that spoon in hand if he shows up.
Absolutely. This is kind of the one thing. I mean, Blue Moon is very liberal with the loot here, but again, with that pretty much maximum attack on that spoon, and nobody here from the word go. Yeah, I can see both of our runners just checking characters like, do we have a spoon word at this point? Because yeah, that spoon word's going to do a lot of work here.
Yeah, normally on Blue Moon, you'd be inclined to go check for a free key item, maybe go do some looting. But with the spoon in hand, that means you want to find that bard as best as possible. I know JMac going to be very excited. We have a Kane, which is kind of whatever, but Rydia being JMac's favorite character, she's going to be very happy to see that. Dave probably happy for a different reason because it represents what is usually considered the best anchor in the game. Iridia starting with just 4 agility.
Yeah, it does depend what we find here. Again, on T Wildish, we do have a slightly larger chance to find, possibly, a Leviathan and maybe even a Bahamut laying around here. But again, much as I am also in Camp Rydia here, Yeah, as you say, best anchor in the game, much as I hate to say it. But yeah, here we are, but again, both of our runners just going straight towards these character checks, and I can't say I really blame them. I mean, if you find a spoon word up here on Ordeals, only a Yong, unfortunately. But yeah, if you find that spoon word, you could have just climbed Ordeals right then and there.
Worth noting, we are down to just one character remaining, and we have not located Cecil, Edge, or Edward, what would be the three major physical damage dealers here. Uh, we have found a Blizzard Spear for Kane, but that is just a Tella in Watery Pass. So we right now have Tella, Yong, Rosa, Rydia, Kane, and Sid. Just one remains. So this is a little bit interesting. Uh, that's not the typical power level that you'd be looking for characters out of Blue Moon.
No, absolutely not. I'd be very interested just to head up to Damsian and try to figure out what this is, because if I see somebody like, let's see, if I see like a Porum, I'm definitely interested to see just what direction these runners are going to take with no real immediate physical damage here, and just a crystal ring. I say just a crystal ring, it's a very nice piece of gear, but and nothing you're really happy to see there, no key item at least, out of the bedward.
Yeah, especially if Eddie shows up with that crystal ring now. Crystal ring spoonword is a whole different ball of wax than just a spoonword. Because spoonword's one major issue, of course, is, well, a stiff breeze can knock him over, and that is probably being disrespectful to a stiff breeze. Basically, Edward will fall over at the touch of any enemy, and that crystal ring will make that very much so not the case. We do see a mute knife, a flame spear, some other things on Dave's side. Nothing really that spicy, though. But at least we have a good assortment of spears with elemental abilities, the Blizzard Spear and Flame Spear on Dave's side. So that'll help out with potential early gauntlets, early AoE. But again, not the best stuff. We do see a Cursed Ring, though. I have to imagine that we're going to be selling whatever we can to buy that Cursed Ring.
Yeah,
And maybe a couple headbands, too.
Yeah, the good news, at least through that treasury, there was heavy armor, like the actual body piece there. And the good thing about finding body pieces, ice armor, fire armor, silver armor, diamond, samurai, they are some of the most expensive non-weapons in the game. So those pieces of armor are worth quite a lot of money here. So again, you just saw Engidave sell off most of them and immediately get enough to just to get that cursed ring straight out there. So Engie getting at least an immediate payoff in terms of gear with that cursed ring. That's a really important piece of tech there as JMac is heading into Damsian to check out that basement here.
Yeah, worth noting, well, first of all, we just found a Soma drop, which is big because that gets Tella to 100 MP. But Dave did not buy the curse ring. He bought a couple headbands instead. But he has knowledge of where that cursed ring, which is effectively the same as, having the cursed ring. Our last character is Edge, though, so the spoon will be relegated to dart duty. We haven't really found stuff that's that great for Edge outside of a mute knife, but that means we don't get the guy. So if we come across any of his swords, uh, they're just going to be either darts or sellables. So no Edward with a spoon, because of course when you start with one, he doesn't show up. And no Cecil, the two big things here for me.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy at least having especially early, a get out of jail free card. I mean, that Edge with a spoon right now, can deal with a lot of, like, we are forced on the hook route. So an Edge tossing that spoon will get by a great number of things you probably don't want to look at, say, at King Queen Evelyn there with only about 6,000 hit points roughly. So not a terrible loss. I mean, hey, we at least have use for that spoon. But again, as C Neki, I wonder. Edge or Sid's starting with a decent bow and arrow combo. Rosa with a cure stick. I wonder what Edge started with here.
Yeah, I think for Edge, the big thing is going to be for. I know at least Dave picked up the mute knife. I don't know if JMac did, but that mute knife will do a lot of work on Dave's side in particular. And Ice Claw, not exactly what you want. Could be helpful against an early Ruby, maybe an Elements. Demis, not a required boss, and also does not give a key item on this flag set. That's kind of just another boss to fight. Not really that great. Worth noting, Dave knocked down Kane and also Rydia. That is curious to me.
Yeah, that's very curious. Now I know that. Yeah, I definitely get the Rydia, as Dave definitely probably wants to keep that Rydia at a low anchor possibility, or even with Tella, the now here's the thing. I mean, we have Rosa, we have Rydia. Did life Tella or did life Kane? So I'm wondering if that was just a misclick there.
Yeah.
But at this point, I mean, thinking ahead, if you can find a darkness crystal on the overworld, um, are we, D-Money is definitely a possibility, as JMac did stow that Rydia there. Could be thinking of a possible slingshot later on down the line. That's a pigtail. That's an interesting find there.
Yeah, Pinktail definitely an interesting pickup. When we find that hook, there's a lot of big hits for this team. You have tier 7 and tier 8 that can hit. Obviously, Excal and Crystal Sword do nothing, but Masa is a hit, Bahamut is a hit, Dragoon Spear is a hit. Those are kind of the big ones. You wouldn't be too upset with Artemis Arrows or a White Shirt, but there's a lot of good hits for that Pinktail for this team. So it's really not the worst thing to pick up, as the majority of things, basically everything non-Cecil, is equipable.
Yeah, given this party, I would actually lean towards, now it may go to keeping that Kane around, but a Dragoon Spear and Avenger would be, I think, one of the best hits you can hit there as well.
Yeah, how could I forget about the Avenger, my favorite weapon? Uh, could also come from the Pinktail. I think that the Avenger would be a huge hit. I think the Bahamut, honestly, would be the most impactful, because it's kind of like, and this is something that we're both familiar with, it's kind of like the Ultima button, just with a slightly longer delay, where you just push the button and things die. So JMax seeing Dark Imps, which Dave already saw up on Mount Hobbs, and the Dark Imps, we're not going to take them. I think Flame would one-shot, but looks like we found something more up our runner's alley, if you will, because that is a required Golbez at Babil.
He's really up everybody's alley. Nobody really likes. I mean, the comedy act is getting a little stale these days, but in terms of required bosses, yes, we're happy to see him, and we kind of wish we had started with that Edge, or at least had a few less characters. Engidave was at least able to knock Rydia over, as the spot is one of the places where you do get a free full heal before this fight starts here. So you can't exactly go into this Golbez prepping 3 characters down, because they're going to all be up and available before this really kind of goes here.
Yeah, and I will say, to your point of it'd be nice to have fewer characters, that would generally be how you'd want to handle this. But when you start with a spoon, it would have to be, and this is a what the kids say kind of thing. It'd have to be a real 5-head play to not go chasing characters with a spoon in tow. So I think that you would almost certainly end up at this location with 5 characters, unless you did something really, really spicy and risky routing.
Yeah, maybe it's just thinking of all the other seeds that we just happen to, take a Kane or take an Edge start who actually has gear, because again, as you said, that Ice Claw really is not putting fear of anything in Golbez's. Yeah, as Lit 3 start raining down, did Denji use a Star Veil at all? Or just, okay, there we go. I was like, I was going through life potions here. Now, okay, Edge has a Star Veil. This is free now.
Yeah, Rosa and Edge both have Veils, so Dave is through. J-Mac also going to Veil up on Edge. There is a small concern that Edge could die here if you didn't Veil him, because there's not a ton of spell power here, but Edge is going to be super fast, and the walls are going to run out. J-Mac probably in better shape long term. I say that, and then Kane gets zapped, and she doesn't have a lot of damage here, actually, and the Veils could run out because of how fast Edge is, so it's actually going to be a little bit of a spooky situation, as poor Kane goes down again, but both runners simultaneous Ys on the screen, so J-Mac did get through that about 30 seconds faster.
Yeah, I was about to say, we do know that Golbez still sports a fire weakness. I would have thought maybe throwing like a Ninja Flame out there would be a good idea with just that Ice Claw, but again, bolt them through, so water under that particular bridge as our king hands over nothing worth progression. I believe one of our runners still has Sid coming along here, so
Yeah, J-Mac.
next. Oh yes, and actually Kane can use that Poison Axe as well, expanding his repertoire, and we're going, oh, nice Assassin Dagger, that helps our edges there.
Yeah, I love the combination of Assassin Dagger Mute Knife. That is kind of the budget. Hey, you want to be a real ninja? Uh, so I like that on Dave's side. J-Mac is still without that Mute Knife. So that is going to be a big factor going forward. Where the Baron guards are, where, a lot of different things are. Also worth noting, there was an Earth Hammer and some Dancing Daggers hanging out in Fabul. But J-Mac just heading up ordeals, not doing any shopping basically, where Dave has been very thorough checking the shops and has a big knowledge advantage as to where things are right now.
Yeah, I believe Dave has Dave checked the ordeals character yet, or is Dave going to be mildly disappointed to not find that's an interesting power staff there as well, without any ways to actually berserk a character or two here. That is definitely an interesting way of getting some things done here. Oh, that's interesting. Upgrade a samurai bow. Sid does pretty well with the samurai bow and charm arrows, honestly.
Yeah, that takes care of the Mute Knife issue, at least for the immediate future. Also, pretty nice for this orbs this year. Again, things that would be helpful against orbs, literally any black magic. If I'm in our runner's shoes, I am not averse to just darting the spoon here. I know it seems like a very liberal use of it, but that's a very quick way through an otherwise very annoying fight. So I do wonder if we get a spoon dart here.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree here. I do wonder what other darts we might have. We do have a Slumber Sword. That's not terrible either. That's more than 50% of its HP there. So between the Cane Jump and that should be just as well here. So J-Mac could at least put that Assassin Dagger on for a little bit of attack power here on that edge, but it is going to get through this with that darted Slumber Sword pretty easily as well.
Yeah, so J-Mac, our first runner through CPU, but Dave going to be right behind, right on her heels. Both runners darting that Slumber Sword represents, at a base level, about 1,500 damage. Looking for other other dartables, we haven't found them, interestingly enough. You can't dart Flame Spears, you can't dart Blizzard Spears, you can't dart Poison Axes, can't dart Silver Swords, you can dart Silver Knives.
Oh my!
Well, speaking of things you want to dart a spoon at, this might be it.
Since we did not dart that, and J-Mac. Going with the Assassin Dagger, that's a little surprising there, but I mean, we do have Kane, so at the very least, he could take her out of spin, because Val has quite a lot of that vaunted evasion here at this spot.
Yeah, Val has, I want to say, 5 physical evade multipliers here, perfect magic defense. Without having access to Kane's jump, we would be pretty hard stuck here outside of like the aim command. I still think I would have liked to have seen a spoon just for to end this fight. Just be done with it and move on, and don't have to worry about saving it. But that's also me loving the assassin knife and what it can do to, things like eggs and make a really easy grind. It can swoon guards, stuff like that. If you're not super comfortable with that tech, though, it makes sense to dart it, because it's not really a great weapon as far as physical attack is concerned. It's much better served for niche uses.
Yeah, it is really, but I mean, right now, good weapon or not, it would be much better served here, just with that. I mean, all J-Mac is really sporting right now with that edge is an Ice Claw, so any upgrade at this point, honestly, is just something here. Okay, at least got lucky here with the Val counterpunch. That edge did get the weak, so down to 7 hit points. But that's all you need here. Down goes Val on that side, and it doesn't look like NG was willing to toss that spoon either, but does have a fairly more harder physical hitting edge here in the center slot.
Yeah, and worth noting, this is a second boss for both of our runners. Uh, Val and Golbez out of the way at two fairly early spots. Now, Val at back attack, historically one of the absolute worst possible things. What this also tells us, with Golbez being at Fabul and Val being here, neither of these can have our hook, or access to our hook, or a path to our hook. Uh, that means that our hook is through Baron Inn, I believe, uh, or whatever comes from Baron Inn. I don't think we have another option at this point.
Oh, we really don't. So yeah, Baron Inn definitely has our path towards that hook. And I mean, that's just a sad Ruby in the Paladin room here. Tella's going to get his spells, and a fairly easily dispatched Dark Elf here just hanging out in the Crystal Room.
Yeah, Dark Elf not going to pose much of a problem for our runners. The Sand Ruby, aka Sad Ruby, aka Glad Ruby, depending on how far into your 10 key item hunt you are, is our reward from ordeals. So we knew that this couldn't be underground access because of Val, but that is also a third terminal key item. We have nothing gating so far. Sand Ruby dead end, Spoon dead end, Pinktail dead end, Crystal Ring was a dead end. So just nothing coming up for chains or anywhere extra to explore for our runners, which makes for a very interesting and ultimately very linear overworld. Gonna make this much more of an execution battle and a raw speed battle, and see who can get through it first. I will say JMac a little bit ahead now, but Dave definitely has the equipment advantage, especially with that assassin knife and mute dagger on edge. That is, to me, the big difference right now, even though JMac is slightly ahead.
Yeah, very much so. Just in that Dark Elf fight, you notice like Edge, very unlike him most of the time, just using that Ice Claw there to punch for 56, as Rosa bonked with, I believe, that Power Staff for about 150. Not every day you see a low-level Rosa out physical DPSing an Edge here, but again, on C-Neki here, if you can't really find those weapons for your ninja here, and is that... Okay, I almost thought J-Mac was making the Evelyn play here, which I wouldn't entirely hate, honestly, given that massive gear gap here.
No, I think I'm in JMac's camp here of hoping to find a hook right away and maybe find, ninja blades, or just, as we say, find ninja blades, just find a ninja blade, forehead. Uh, there's your ninja blade in a box. So that is a huge pickup for JMac. That Edge actually, has something he can do now instead of just hoping to dart, whatever silly little weapon like a slumber sword is floating around. That's enormous for JMac. It's going to be much more relevant for her to pick that up than Dave. Still great for Dave to pick it up, but much, much more relevant for JMac. Dave, however, fading the box with the Ninja Sword, that's a feels bad. That Ice Claw actually going to help out here against Kainatsu.
Yeah, the Ice Claw helping out, and again, even then, that Slumber Sword, again, base, oh yeah, that Blizzard Spear as well, but, hey, gathering the water here, just, throwing that Berserk down, I'm like, this is probably another great place to, ditch that other Slumber Sword, because, hey, that's about 1,500 free damage.
Yeah, Berserk, though, on that edge, this fight is done and dusted, and just as quickly as we thought JMac might have an advantage on speed but not gear, that Ninja Blade does help, really balance things, and there is the hook, so not anything extra for our runners to do on this overworld, absolutely as linear as it can get, with only the required Sphere Zero areas to check. So this, to me, I would be very keen on turning that Pinktail in, and then making an Eblin Castle dive to get a little bit of loot, a little bit of levels, and then heading underground, because we just don't have anything we can do on the overworld except maybe a cheeky Zot 1 play.
True. I mean, that will only really give us a boss there. Our destination is absolutely set in terms that I guess we have not seen these opening here. Just a Kalbrenna in the Mist Cave slot here, and I don't believe either runner has either checked Waterfall. I'm guessing JMac is probably heading there now, as Dave is actually going back to that armor shop with the knowledge that yes, that first ring is still there and is going to actually pick it up now.
Yeah, and this is absolutely the time to do it as well because you're about to head underground, and it would be a very helpful time to have that curse ring so you can anchor for the hook route. On JMac's side, I think she's going to be relying on a tele anchor, possibly Sid, depending on what has been found. I don't think we've seen a dwarf axe, but looks like we are going to get that pinktail turn in, and see where we go from here. I know that Pancras, a restreamer this afternoon, had a question. What would you rather see here, a Masa or a Bahamut Orb?
Oh wow. Strictly speaking, I would actually go for the Masa, although I would
Same.
not be unhappy at the Bahamut Orb.
Oh, how about a Dragoon Spear? I know you were calling for that earlier. That's a dang fine weapon for Kane.
Yeah, that's pretty much going to actually solidify Kane's appearance in this party here, as technically attack power wise, probably third best what he can pick up, but with all that dragon slaying capability on it, effective damage there against some of the ruder bosses in the seed, and very much makes easy grind on either boon dragons or um, on other lunar dragons or eggs there. So yeah, that dragoon spear is going to do a lot of work, and I think JMac is diving in. Probably going to take a look at this Evelyn item shop, see if there's either like hourglasses or coffins, something that might make an easier cave or Castle Evelyn dive here. And how about both?
Yeah, yeah. Porque no los dos. That would be both the hourglasses and the coffin. That is going to make a very easy trip of things to Eblin Castle. We see 5 hourglasses being purchased, 4 coffins. I would definitely expect to see the hourglasses used on the ogres excuse me, the coffins used on the ogres on JMX side. Um, unless we still have that poison axe, I don't know if it was sold or not, but it's good to have both for sure.
I'm not sure here. JMax done only the barest of the bare necessities of actually equipping here. I'm pretty sure that Kane doesn't even have that Dragoon Spear in just yet here. Doing a little bit of shuffling. And all right, that Sid still is bow and arrow. But then again, I'm saying this is Blue Moon. That Sid is back road if he did decide to pick up that poison axe. But I think it's just still sitting in JMax inventory.
Yeah, I mean, we can see JMac here just go through and, loot all these boxes. This is going to make up for a little bit of that gear disparity. But again, the big one to me is still no Mute Knife. That does give Dave an advantage against the ogres. It also gives him an advantage against potential guards, Asura, Magus Sisters, any of those types of bosses or fights. So if we can pick up a Mute Knife, a Rune Axe, something like that on JMac's side, it'll help with that. Speaking of Asura, there's an Asura orb, but not much to do about that. Well, the loot here's been kind of stinky for 2 Wildish so far.
Yeah, it really has here. The other thing, I mean, JMac is down a Mute Dagger, is up a Ninja Blade there. So in terms of non mage types, there Edge will actually still be quite effective. As here probably comes the first hourglass here against this fight. Does have to weather the storm of about 5 hits here from the Stelman and Skulls here, but otherwise they're not going to be able to kill everybody with these 5 swings. And I think JMac probably wants that Tele to go down anyway.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting a self-virus cast. And looks like on Dave's side, the Rydia ended up getting some levels. I think that was from Baron in 1. Not certain if that was by design. It looks like he also decided that Kane was going to have a bad day again, and he got Power Staff bonked. So second time that Kane has fallen victim for whatever his sins were. But yeah.
But things that you love to see, Possum, as we do see a middle slot Tella miss the first stone, took 2 stones to get to where Engidave needed to get there. Faster fight, both of them finishing this one at about the same time here. And let's see if we get any kind of, well, that's a dart.
I mean, cool sword. That's all I got. That's all it is. It's a sword. It's a spoon replacement. Had we darted the spoon at Val, I mean, not fully a spoon replacement, but it would help. But that's about it. The X-Cal doesn't do anything. We don't have a Cecil.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's spoon number 2, and or it's a lot of money. I mean, we might want some more hourglasses, we might want some more coffins, and you know, the Excalibur, holiest of swords, very big in the black market. Nice Thunderclaw. That'll be useful later for JMac there.
Yeah, I dare say so we have Thunderclaw, Fireclaw, Ice Claw now. We have basically the full complement for Edge. That definitely will come in handy, and we also have the Black Cat Lamia chest now. I fully expect to see a Hourglass come out here because these cats are jerks because they're cats.
True story. I mean, I love my 2 cats to death. They're jerks.
Oh yeah, that is their nature.
Yep. Again, Hourglass comes out, Flamecast coming out. No silly bluster counters here. No paralysis. No death. Just an easy fight here. As I did see JMac pick up as Engidave is about to also get that life stick there. So best of white magic sticks there, and yeah, let's see what comes out of this chest here, and we get a that's yeah, Masamune Ninja. Okay.
Yeah, still wish for JMac that we had that mute knife to level the equipment playing field, but Masa Ninja for the majority of fights is going to be better than Masa Mute. So I think that technically puts JMac ahead now on gear as far as what I'm seeing, and is about a treasure chest ahead as well. So things turning in JMac's favor here, being very light on the loot, being very light on shopping, is basically down a curse ring, which is a big deal. You know, curse ring is huge, but this party is going to be fast enough, Sid notwithstanding, that curse ring isn't really going to super matter.
Like, once some life glitches there too, and the funny thing is Rosa with that power stick is berserking these stop ogres here, so you love to see it. So mad, so angry, but so unable to do anything here.
Yeah, they're just paralyzed with rage, just sitting there thinking to themselves, fight or flight, and they can do neither. So they just get charmed, and they get silenced, and they get swooned, and they get berserked, and they give a Bacchus wine, which canonically checks out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, we did have Edge. We could have actually stolen a few more of their wines there, but again, with this party, you might actually want it there. I mean, that Edge just wants to be berserked anytime he can now. So again, I think I mentioned at the beginning of the seed here, when we have this Edge, I mean, I'm going to be really tempted unless the KQE is just the biggest slow ball of all time here, but of things to throw a potential spoon at, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm thinking almost anything, that's remaining can be a replacement spoon target, or spoon plus X-Gal target, but with a Masa Ninja, Zerking Edge also just sounds pretty good now, because that is like full-on endgame equipment.
Yep, and JMac says, that's enough for the looting, I'm just going to keep walking by. I do not blame her in the least. I have Dragoon Spear Cane, I have Masa Ninja Edge, I have Berserk Spell, and we have a potential third boss sighting here in this purple robe here, 50-50, that's going to be a required Mylon and Friends.
Now, hear me out. If that is Mylon and Friends, I want to see Telecast Meteo and Edge get zerked.
Did JMac use the Soma drop on Tele there?
I don't think so, but that's neither here nor there. We do see black belts for sale. That is a phenomenal pickup on Dave's side. So he's got headbands, he's got black belts, is down that ninja blade. Everybody else is going to be kitted out a little bit better though. But JMac up a good chunk of the hook dive right now, and that Edge is going to be outputting more damage on average than Dave. So I think JMac is ahead right now, probably by about about a minute, I would say. It's not much of a lead, but a small lead in hand right now.
Yeah,
Being
JMax.
very aggressive.
Yeah, the strength bonus actually offsets the +5 from the ninja sword and a +5 from the black belt are just going to cancel each other out. The ninja sword having again more attack power, so JMax probably going to keep this lead unless that's like exactly Asura or the. Well, I would say the Baron Guards, but we've got coffins for them, so out of mind at that point. But yeah, there's really not much. What am I most afraid of here?
Evil Wall. Evil Wall would be stinky. Luge is not stinky.
Luge is not at all. No, I was thinking DKC myself here.
Yeah, DKC with Sid's HP pool, a single cure on Sid should get you through that. If you're well anchored and set up and all of that stuff. So I think in our runners' cases, I believe it would have been fine to run into DKC here.
Wow, that's the strength of the spot here. Balnab doing a lot of our work for us, punching Luge in the face for 645 there. Something you really don't want to see him doing to the rest of the party here. But again, with the HP on this slot split between these three encounters, yeah, there he goes. Down goes Luge here. Now is JMac going to have enough damage to kind of push this through before Balnab Z pops out? Oh, nope.
It's alright though, because Balnab Z only going to have, what, probably 1500 HP here? It's not a lot. One hit from Edge, one hit from Kane. We'll be very close. Rosa might go down, but yeah, there we go. So just over 1300 health there. Not much of a concern. The only issue, I guess, is that Rosa is now an HP critical on JMac's side, but, you know, whatever. There's no XP here. This part of Luge is completely free at this spot, so this will be done and dusted. Probably in 2 hits, one from Kane, one from Sid here.
Yeah, the only kind of bad thing here. Actually, yeah, that's forfeit. I forgot about Bad Z form there, but also the whole thing where I think it is weighted a little. Yeah, that's about 1700 damage has come by. I think it's weighted a little harder towards Luge's last form here. But yeah, again, a couple more hits shouldn't be anything here. As Sid's 172 does not finish it off. Okay, there we go.
Luge going for the last man standing award, refusing to go down. But Luge is dispatched, and we will find out which version of Mylon we have joining us today. Do we get a hook route dance party while spelunking through Eblin Cave, or do we get somebody who managed to fall into one of the deepest natural ravines on a blue planet? We'll be finding that out in 2 shakes of a lambtail.
I didn't even know Lambtail Shake. Oh, that's not the required one we found here. This is just Mylon Zed here. So Engidave did actually equip that Thunderclaw here. And I mean, we do have that Fire Claw as well here. Masa Fire Claw here against Mylon would be quite good as well. But it looks like we're just going to Berserk Edge here with the...
Worth noting, Dragoon Spear, pretty flippin' good here too. That is going to be a very unhappy Mylon Z with the Dragoon Spear going burr here. That will take advantage of the weakness to air, since Mylon Z is floating. So Spears will do bonus damage, and I'd like to see us get that Cane Zoked up on JMac's side as well.
That looks to be exactly what's happening, but oh my, that Edge with that Fire Claw already doing near 3,000 damage on Engi's side there. Did go for that Fire Claw. Just needs to keep that Cane upright, or just needs to keep that Edge upright. Cane also good here, but yeah, between that, none of these runners really truly in any kind of great danger here.
Yeah, I think Dave doing a better job on this fight, just taking advantage of that elemental weakness, not really caring so much about, you know, getting everyone blinked up, just keeping their HP totals kind of high. But I think Dave is going to be through this fight first, even though JMac was in this fight first.
It's going to be pretty close there. The issue here is JMac probably wants to down that Tela here before those two... get done here, but I would expect to be seeing these Mylons start crumbling any second now. And yep, yeah. There goes Engi's, and J-Max is following suit there, but yeah, Engie has made up that gulf and even passed J-Mac with the speed of those fights here.
Yeah, so great use of the Thunderclaw against Lude and the Fireclaw against Mylon Z. Really showing off that the 2 times damage for the elements uh, does make quite a bit of a difference there. And able to make up about 30 to 45 seconds there. So that is the elemental weakness coming into play. No exploitation of the undead weakness, which would be a 4x weakness. And there is a Beigen that is required at top of tower. So Dave giving us that first bit of knowledge, J-Max seeing it as well. And so both runners going to know that top of tower is somewhere they're going to want to go. Now, I'll ask you this, Night Dude, because personally, I'm not going to that top of tower until after I've done Dwarf and seen the Fame Arch, because I don't necessarily want to double dip to top of tower. How quickly would you go up there?
Right now, I have our starting pack of Sirens, and I have those coffins I have out of Cave Evelyn. I'm probably going to go smash a few eggs, and actually with our edges kitted out exactly as they are, I wouldn't mind doing that actually. But yeah, I think here, especially with the warp glitch in 2 shots at potentially say a tower key here at Dwarf Castle here. Yeah, it's not a bad idea just to go to Dwarf first and see if you could just make it a single trip up that tower here. But J-Mac gonna scramble a few eggs here. Yeah, that's kind of what I like here. The only thing I don't like about that Beigen, oh yeah, we have a Dragoon Spear. We don't even need the coffins.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the eggs here because we have the Dragoon Spear. Kane doing his best to try to fail to kill the egg, only dealing 2200 with a 4x there, uh, which is, well, the dragons really, really hate uh, the Dragoon Spear because that is a racial weakness as opposed to an elemental weakness, which is a 4x weakness. But that is not the guards we want to see on Dave's side. So Dwarf Castle, you do get the officer, which can be life glitched and very easily dispatched, but not the guards we were looking to find.
Yeah. Oh, note, we haven't found that Bahamut orb here, but we did find a Leviathan orb in Tamra in case anybody's having second thoughts about picking that summoner up out of Mist there. But of course, after we do have the flag on, which gives Rydia 5 summons here, so it's very possible she could just pick it up after this first fight. And let's actually see on Dave's screen here real quick what those list of 5 summons are to see if anybody wants to pick that summoner back up. We really don't have sweepers, and I'd really actually love to have one for that Beigen. We do have a Lunar slot as well here. I saw Sylph Jin Titan. I did not see the other 2, and oh my, that's a Mega Nuke to the face.
Well, Edge of all characters gets the dodge. We best be darting something here, though, because this is going to get out of hand. Oh, I guess we're going to bring back Dragoon Spear Kane, but this is going to be a speedy Wyvern, and I'm hoping we get this attack off with Kane, or else this could turn into a spooky situation. But we do get through it. So Dave, definitely a good amount of luck there to have that edge dodge, or that was going to have to be a redo on that Wyvern and the guards.
Yeah, the big thing here is that J-Mac actually has a bit more hit points on her team, and if memory serves, honestly, that Mega Nuke in that second slot can top off at, or bottom out in this case, at roughly about 1,000 damage there. 3 characters out of 4 could feasibly survive a Mega Nuke off of Wyvern here, because, again, really fast anchored, so that Mega Nuke is going to show its face pretty quick here. We are going to get that warp glitch here and see what is in the back of what would be Lucacade here. That is now a... Oh, well, there you go, Possum.
Yep, that's why I wouldn't like to go up tower right away. That's our tower key, folks. So yeah, that's the payoff for not immediately going there. The Mega Nuke comes out on J-Max side. Edge, Sid, and Kane all live. We put the Starvel up anyway. It's a little awkward, but Kane says goodbye, Wyvern, and onwards and upwards we go. And there are Bacchus wine for sale here in Dwarf. We sell the Assassin Dagger, so we're not going to get any cheeky, swoon strats on eggs. But also that means no swoon strats on Baron Guards, should they show up. But Dave's going to buy all the wine he can afford, which is going to be 14 of Dwarf's finest ale, and onwards Dave will proceed to the weapon shop.
Yeah, I mean, still, 2 coffins in Engidave's there that we found. Runax's Elvenbow's Sorcerer Robes, which are, I guess, good for Rosa here, but nothing, like, huge. I don't know what, I mean, maybe Dave's looking for, I wouldn't even say another ninja sword. I'm not sure what Dave is looking for after, having the fire sale for, did J-Mac just exit out of Dwarf Castle?
Yes, J-Mac just exited instead of warped, and I don't believe picked up either item, either the warp glitch or the Dwarf Castle. So J-Mac gonna have to redo this Dwarf Castle, and I know J-Mac's not gonna want to hear this on the watch back, but J-Mac just earned herself a new button. If you know, you know, folks.
Yeah, is going to be able to at least prepare. Hope that Mega Nuke is as nice as it was the second time around here, as there were no battle speed adjustments here. But Dave, going up that tower, that whole key tower here, going to give us a peek also at the Super Cannon room, at least back on the way down here. I know, like, especially in other flag sets, other iterations, sometimes you would just... it used to be always, hey, we're just going to do this at the end of the or, if tower comes up with the one thing we need, we're not going to pay attention to it. But so many boss hunts here, I just kind of get it out of the way just so I don't forget it anymore.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I will personally always look to pick up the warp glitch, pick up anything I can in the way of key items to try to get me to 10, and missing out on both the Dwarf Castle reward and the warp glitch, not going to be what J-Mac wants to see, so definitely going to have to go back and do this again. But we'll get that tower key, we'll get that adamant rock, we'll be at 6 key items. With the tower to do, the Feymarch freebie, Sheila 1, there's a fairly realistic chance we get to 10 key items and can grind, where that Dragoon Spear will still do some work. But definitely a spooky situation here. J-Mac not going to be feeling the best after that. So I wonder if we're going to get some very interesting and different approaches now from J-Mac as far as this seed is concerned. And Rosa walks off the Mega Nuke this time. Kane falls by just a little bit of HP, and looks like we are going to put a Slumber Sword in Wyvern's face, and that'll be all she wrote for Wyvern the second time around. So J-Mac going to get through this again while Dave is going to battle with Baigen at the top of tower, our third required boss.
Yeah, one of the, now we did see dolls go by the wayside there, so that's not huge there. I mean, Baigen is definitely one of those fights where I want a functioning Black Mage or Summoner in this case. Tella does not count, as he does not know the big sweepers like Quake, or can, summon Leviathan or Bahamut there, as we do see that Berserk Edge gonna do work here. Unfortunately, they're gonna just waste shots on those arms a few times here. So yeah, not hugely threatening up here on the top of tower, but yeah, they'll get through it as well here, as J-Mac is back here. And yeah, I can't really, you cannot blame J-Mac for going back here, because, again, both of those checks, it's, now, actually, I have to ask, do we have a safety just in case, you do exit, like, if you walk back up to Dwarf Castle, or at least the King, do you still get the trigger to walk up for at least that key item?
That I honestly don't know the answer to. I have never exited out of Dwarf and then gone back in to get it. I would assume that the trigger tile is still in place, that it's not dependent on still being inside or outside of Dwarf Castle. So my assumption would be that that trigger tile does not change based on your entrance or exit point to Dwarf. But the warp glitch does matter because it has to do with return doors and things like that. So I have to imagine that would still trigger just based on the logic of the video game. Now, that being said, that's always a scary proposition, is relying on logic on a 30-year-old game that was never meant to be randomized.
And Jibran confirming it here as we We do see Baigen up top of the tower here, keeping hold of that Baron key that he was entrusted with, just carrying it all the way to the top of Babil. Doesn't want us getting into Baron for whatever reason, but a nice find here to pocket, especially on this. We do know KQE is not going to be one of our bosses there, but again, 2 more boss checks revealed here as we're down to, at this point to, looks like about 4 boss checks we don't have here, so... well, not counting everything off darkness, of course, but only elements in the super cannon room, so nothing great there unless we get another one of those boss blocking key items.
Yeah, so basically we have elements being taken out here by Dave, JMech about to start on Baigen, but that's going to give our runners access to the 2 key item spots, 2 boss checks in Baron that we don't know about, the tower key, super cannon reward here, Sheila 1, the Feymarch freebie, both fights in Feymarch. I think 10 key items is probably the norm here rather than the exclusion. So I think our runners are going to very easily get to 10, going to be able to do their grinds, prepare their party how they want. Will we see, Rydia be brought back in to the party to get nuked? That remains to be seen. But our runner is definitely on a good track right now. Dave obviously upped that dwarf castle because of the warp/exit issue on JMac's side. But I don't think, just like when JMac was ahead earlier, I don't think this is at all, a race that is done. And we see JMac saying, let me put that spoon into Baigen. That's 9,000 damage, basically, that's going straight into that middle portion of Baigen. Really going to accelerate this fight.
Yep, sending a hard-casted virus there as well before telling Rosa that he's outlived, or Baigen has outlived his usefulness here. But yeah, I don't argue with that call there, especially with the Berserks that have not come out yet. Yeah, just lobbing so many things into, and I did miss that reward. Oh no, it's a package off the super cannon. So down to, aside from darkness, down to 3 boss slots that we would have missing in that case.
Was that a government service executive?
Yes, it was, but the other thing it was also Ninja Sword parody, as there was a Ninja Sword in the back of Tamra there, so Engidave does pull even with the edge weaponry.
Yeah, a big pickup there for Dave, rewarded for the memes of going and talking to the job dwarf. Finding out that the job dwarf does in fact have a job, is helping out with the government, whatever that is, that the job dwarf is helping with. I have no idea what that role does. I'm sure somebody does. But Dave going to take a stop here and going to crack some eggs. Is on 8 key items, so this is probably just doing prep for likely a little more levels, maybe trying to get Rosa a few more to maybe survive a Baron basement attempt, if that is in our future. But JMac is going to be basically a super cannon room behind at this point, as neither runner is yet to peak the Feymarch. Maybe Dave saying, I'll go and do these sirens and head down to the Feymarch, and maybe be able to take something down there as well before doing Sheila 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just, if you're committed here, we still don't have a Darkness Crystal, and key item checks are getting a little thin here, even, again, either by Feymarch or the Baron Basement. It could be in a particularly rude spot. I mean, JMac actually did leave one of those 2 starting sirens. Actually, I think it was 1 starting siren. We got the others from some kind of treasure chest. I believe it was in Evelyn Castle, if memory serves. I know I saw somebody pick one up. Neither here nor there. JMac still does have 1 siren in her pocket there. Nice Ninja Star. I mean, that's another throwable here, as and she still does have that spoon in his pocket. That's a Luca key. So we are, I believe, again, sans Darkness Crystal. We are 1 key item. We are Earth Crystal or Twin Heart plus Darkness away from True Go mode.
Yeah, we right now have eyes on every boss except the Moon. Zot 2, and the Twin Harp. So this is, in my eyes, and in probably the vast majority of our watchers and runners' eyes, where, you know, it wouldn't necessarily be go mode because you'd have to, you know, go through and actually kill the bosses and find them and all that, but you would have access to get to go mode in probably north of 90, maybe even 95% of seeds, where at this point you'd have to have bosses behind exactly Zot 2 and Twin Harp to not have Darkness Crystal give you access to everything you need. So I think our runners are in a very good position here to find Darkness Crystal and pivot hard into face check mode. And we know that that is a required set of guards hanging out at the king spot. Couple coffins, that fight's going to end, and then that Sparkle could be a daily double as well, if that's Ogopogo at Asura. A less fun fight, a less free fight, but a fight that our runners will be able to take.
I believe if we've seen Wyvern, we've seen Plague, and we have not seen Pale Dim, we have not seen D Lunars, and we've obviously not seen Ogopogo, so 33% chance for that to have some kind of value. Engidave not even going for life glitches there, not taking any chances, just throwing those coffins, getting those guards out of the way. Don't blame him, especially with Sirens. We did see Sirens also available in the Feymarch shop here, so... oh, well, yeah, that's a double Masamune edge.
Yep, that's pretty good. Double Masa Edge, gonna do some work. I would expect we'll see JMac also do the same thing. Big difference here is JMac may have to take a safety turn and go through and use an hourglass on the guards to knock off Tella, because she does not have the curse ring or knowledge of it. Or may take the Sparkle first, which is in fact the Feymarch double. We have Ogopogo at Asura. This is a relatively free fight. I say relatively because, well, we need to just basically drink wine, hit Ogopogo with sharp swords, and blink people up. Once that happens, the fight is free, but we need to... I would personally prioritize blinking here rather than curing, but I can respect the Cure 3 coming out from Rosa as well.
Yeah, with Edge doing about 2,200 a shot, again, Radiant did get those levels, but Dave does have those, Dave still does have those curse rings here, so not a big thing. JMac doing the super safe here and just tossing an hourglass, so these two guards are going to get their hits in, and that's it here as the coffins begin to come out, and
we didn't kill Tella off. I'm a little surprised by this on JMac's side, because that is going to slingshot him a little. It's probably only going to put him to 9 agility, maybe 10, but that's an extra 40-some-odd thousand XP that you weren't necessarily planning on Tella getting, so it is a little bit spooky. While Dave is making great work, this Ogopogo is effectively up an Ogopogo fight right now.
Yeah, the good news for JMac is there is still a base level Rydia still hanging out in the Tower of Wishes that JMac can pick up to fix that anchor situation here.
Wow. All right, well, we are now officially in if you find the Darkness Crystal, you have access to everything you need mode on Dave's side. JMac with the no save headed straight in. Gonna be darting an Excal straight away at Ogopogo. Makes a lot of sense. But this is a little bit scary. If folks go down on this, JMac is going to need to reset and do both of these fights. Kane is not the target you want to see there. Edge also not the target. This is going to be a reset for JMac. Because we are not at a good battle speed for this. We did not get our Zerks going right away. And this is pretty much all she wrote. So JMac going to be behind now the full Feymarch, unfortunately. Not great targeting there.
Nope. Yeah, you hate to see that. I would have really liked the safety save here just because of that. And yeah, that's the reset there. And Dave is at 9. No, that's all 10 key items there. So yeah, this is high time for an egg grind here. And the interesting thing here is we have Tella getting knocked down in the middle, and It looks like Rydia's going to be up right now, so Engie is now saying, I want to get this kid, possibly nuclear here.
Well, it's worth noting one very important thing, and that is that we haven't seen the gauntlet yet. And of everybody in this team, outside of maybe Kane with the Dragoon Spear, Rydia can ultimately learn Weak, which is wonderful for Lunar Gauntlets, can learn Quake, which is wonderful for some Lunar Gauntlets, can wear a Tiara, which can give her Dragon Resistance, which is good against the, Wyvern and Ogopogo Gauntlets. So if you're planning on like a Lunar Gauntlet, Rydia is one of the better characters to have available based on the gear that we have and her skill set. Plus, she also learns this really fancy thing called Nuke. And, well, Nuke is a nice button to have when you need it. Plus, Dave can also always just go ahead and get rid of Tella if he's found exits, or just leave him on the ground with the cursed ring, because, well, he has a cursed ring. He has that flexibility that JMac does not have, for example.
Does have that edge now berserked and blinked here, so JMac should get through this fight this time here as Engie just keeps going through the fight here and can just actually go back. I mean, losing that guards fight isn't too terrible as it's just 2 coffins and done, but it actually does, I believe, gets those Tele levels back as well here, so not the best thing in the world, but isn't as bad as it could have been here. I wonder, actually, it looks like Edge might still be rocking both the Ninja and the Masamune here. Not a huge damage loss, but yeah, doesn't want to take time to equip that here, but Ogopogo should fall here, as even Kane going down is not the end of the world here. All you need is just these two. There we go. Yeah, Ogopogo's down. And the guards will follow again here very soon.
Yeah, and while JMac is redoing this guards fight and Dave is doing some grinding, I want to make sure we take the time and get the chance to recommend everyone follow the runners here. They are doing a phenomenal job. Definitely worthy of your praise, your admiration, your love, etc. As soon as the bot cooperates and decides that it wants to, well, bot. Twitch has been having issues today, so #blame Twitch. We love you, Twitch, but it is what it is. So yeah, our runners, they are doing a wonderful job. Give them a follow, both Engidave and JMac the Librarian, and the folks behind the stream. X Pancras on Restream doing a wonderful job again navigating those Twitch issues today. Our tracker Mecha doing a phenomenal job pushing the buttons, making sure that the runners have the right numbers of bosses lit up, etc. And great job to everybody behind the scenes, and of course, great job to Naitu, my co-commentator, and one heck of a runner in his own right as well.
Just don't ask me to pick 50-50s. I lose at those.
Dude, I lose at 90-10s. I wish it was just 50-50s. Speaking of one heck of a runner, I mean, we just have a defending tournament champion I'm talking to and awesome there too. So, yeah, skill to go around is, even Engie's Kane at 3,000 hit points was trying to fail really hard at that egg. I know he's back road and everything, or he's not back road, but still only 1854 on that last egg. Just didn't want to get there, apparently. #Kane things. Now, I do wonder, given JMac's trials and tribulations on this seed, if JMac is going to do something spicy. I fully expect eggs to be done here. It just makes sense. It's super easy. You have a Dragoon Spear, yada yada.
Yeah,
but I wonder I just wonder on JMac's side, after we do Baron, which I anticipate we're going to do, that, it's 3 bosses. Yes, one of them we know. Do we get a Giant before Moon without pass? That's my big question here, because I feel like, JMac is down probably 3 minutes at this point, maybe 3.5 minutes. If the Giant hits and you can save yourself a Lunar Subterrain lock, I wonder if that is where kind of JMac is, or is the Twin Harp on her radar as well? Those are kind of my 2 big questions for JMac right now. I think Dave has a much cleaner path to the end of the game, whenever that ends up being. I'm very curious to see how JMac routes this, knowing that she's had issues with both dwarf, with the dwarf castle issue and then the Fey March as well.
Yeah, here's the thing though. I'm actually kind of surprised that Dave, knowing that we need that darkness crystal, is making this check down into Luca. Now, if it hits, I would be willing just to call the match for Dave right there. But again, we're missing a darkness crystal, and we're making a check that doesn't have access to said darkness crystal. That's I'm a little suspect at that by personally. I mean, it's just like I said again, if it hits, it just hits. But yeah, so Dave gonna make this check a really spicy check. But again, if this doesn't hit, we're pretty much back at parity almost.
This feels like a defensive play from Dave. This feels to me like he thinks he is comfortably ahead because he hasn't had any major issues. Honestly, I love when runners do this, that they think that they're not playing from behind because everything has gone well, and that they're willing to make these checks to kind of cover, all their bases. This is the kind of check that tells me that you're playing with the intent to not lose to a fluky thing. Now, Zot 1 could be in play here. I don't think the Twin Harp is going to be in play, but I don't hate the Luca check. You're already underground. It's roughly a minute and 20 seconds when you factor in flight time and everything else, so it's not the longest check. And if it hits, you feel really good, and if it doesn't, you say, well, do I think I was a minute and 20 seconds ahead? Again, Dave has had no missteps, really. He's been a little bit slower on a fight-by-fight basis than JMac, but hasn't really had any major missteps. So that's kind of the thing, is I think that's what's driving Dave's play. JMac's check down here to Luca is exactly the opposite. I think this is I'm feeling like I need to spike a boss in a weird place. I don't think we've seen the end of JMac routing this a little bit differently. I think that Zot 1, I think that the Twin Harp are both in play for JMac. I don't know that they are for Dave. Also, the Rope of Shame. Sorry, JMac, but thank you for getting the chest. That is, one meme that you have to do when you go down the Rope of Shame.
Yeah, I was about to call that out. JMac correctly taking the chest due to hitting the Rope of Shame there. So again, gonna get that paid back in the fact that gonna probably reset straight out of the zone. Dave, again, checking Baron, and again, going off what you said with the whole JMac may feel behind with those, and honestly, if I did the same, if I kind of, had boss fights like that, or, that reset, I'd feel really behind, and if I'm going to go try to spike a boss, I mean, knowing that we don't have Darkness Crystal, it could still be the answer, but I might go try to spike it at, say, Twin Harp.
Agreed. Yeah, I would like a Twin Harp into Zot 1 route from JMac here, just knowing the situation, where if it hits, you feel like you're back in the game, and if it doesn't, you feel like you're making a play to win by a couple minutes and willing to lose by a lot. This is something I'm very on record as saying that, if you feel like you've had some troubles in your fights and you are routing in certain ways, that you might need to spice things up, because losing by 3 minutes, if a seed is completely linear, just means that you lost by 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes you can never make up, or 4 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it is. So if you're willing to make a spicy check to change things up, then you're saying, I am willing to win by 2 minutes by making the spicy check, but also willing, if all of these checks don't pay out, to lose by 20, because it gives me a line back in on the race. So I would like to see that from JMac and see where her mentality is at on it. On Dave's side, though, he's just kind of playing tried and true to himself. Again, hasn't had many hiccups. He has been a little slower on a fight-to-fight basis, but he hasn't had hiccups or wipes. So I think Dave is doing a very good job of weaving in those defensive checks as he can, like the Luca Cave, maybe even Zot 1, before going to the Moon, wherever the Moon access might be. Also worth noting, JMac did go and turn in Sheila 1, which is a little surprising to me, but this also could just be the Darkness Crystal that we haven't found yet. So
yeah, I figured, again, with no Darkness, Sheila 1 is totally defensible here, and that's just a Legend Sword now. That is a Forge. Although with Double Masa and Dragoon Spear Cane, I don't really feel the need to actually forge here, as JMac is going to give us the Sheila 1 check here. And this is pretty huge if it's the Darkness Crystal here. This is JMac's ticket back in the race. Oh, that's a vanilla pan is what it is.
Sheila, you troll, you.
Sheila's got jokes today.
Now, it's very interesting if the pan leads to darkness, because that will also drive Dave back underground. It may also drive JMac back underground, but that is the Luca key and the pan for JMac. Just want to make sure that we have everything appropriately designated on her side. But also a Ruby in the basement. This is going to be a fairly easy fight with a Blizzard Spear Cane. Yeah, that's that is 8,290 damage. That's yep, that's a number that Cane did.
Cane making the case that he is not patently average, at least when he can hit an elemental weakness, which doesn't happen all that often, as he really only has access to flying, fire, and blizzard. But when he can, he does. Ruby says enough of that, though.
Ruby's like, yeah, that's a cool ice spell. Would you like to see my fire spell? And then Rydia's like, yeah, here's a microwave. Have fun, friend. But we get on Dave's side a Bahamut Orb, which not going to take the time to walk out, which means that this pan track or the Twin Harp leads to darkness. There is no way to avoid that at this point. That is just a Moon Veil. So it's either Twin Harp or Sheila 2. We have narrowed darkness down to 2 spots. Dave's going to be our first to give music. I honestly think within the next 30 seconds, when we get this pan turn in on JMac's side, we're probably going to know the winner of this race based on who gets Darkness Crystal.
The thing is, even if JMac gets the Darkness Crystal, that Baron check is really kind of hard to pass up here. As look, Rydia is getting the things now. That's plus 10 wisdom. Great for nukes that were only doing 5,300 damage beforehand. Or not.
Yeah, I think on JMac's side, there's also a chance, even if the darkness shows up here, which it does show up from this pan, again, JMac has had some of those, stumbling points, and may say, oh my goodness, excuse me, y'all, I'm so sorry. May say, let me just go to the moon. Heck, Baron, we're out of here, and let's go take care of the moon and moon things.
I definitely agree. If I feel behind, and I know that at least Baron is King Queen Evelyn, I know that, yes, I'm passing up 2 checks here, but it does look like JMac is heading, going towards Baron, so is going to make that Baron play for all of that unfortunate nothing.
Yeah, and with this harp check, this basically has to be the Earth Crystal. I think for Dave here, but looks like JMac is going Baron, and I'm told, Nightdew, that this is the part of the show where we're supposed to keep talking through the music, right?
I believe we were hired to talk, yes.
Good. I'm just going to keep doing it in honor of Rivers McCown, in honor of Flurry, and the music is cool, but you know what's even
we do apologize for those technical difficulties. Apparently, my co-commentator must have dropped his mic somewhere or something like that. But he's just back in time to give us the line.
Yay. We can get underground now.
Yay.
So anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming. Dave, not happy with the results of the Twin Harp, just some Magus Sisters, some Pokemans. And Dave's going to give us the Rex banner play, the Zot 1 check. I was a little surprised on Dave's side to see the Twin Harp check. Sheila 1, I get, to me, Sheila 1 makes more sense than Zot 1 at this point. You're looking for Darkness Crystal. You know it has to, on Dave's side, be behind Sheila 1 in some way, shape, or form. And if it gives the Earth Crystal, you know now that you would have to double dip Zod if Sheila 1 gave the Earth Crystal. So I think this is a really risky play on Dave's part, and I'm a little surprised by it routing-wise.
Yeah, again, as you were saying, this feels like super defensive. Dave, this, again, as you said, does not want to lose to these one-off checks, and is willing to head to, again, like Zot 1. Again, extremely huge if it pays off, and we're running out of boss slots here, so the chances are getting higher and higher for Dave not to zonk on something here.
Ooh.
But, oh, hello, that's, the Rex banner pays off again here. That's a gauntlet, that's required.
The Rex banner, yep, the check that we all know and love. When you're in a pinch, and you think that things have gone awry, you check the Rex banner, and it saves the day. It's how it always works, unless it's me, and then it doesn't.
Okay, so J-Mac is saving. Gonna head to Baron. Again, though, now saying again, if I'm J-Mac here, I am sorely tempted to take that Darkness Crystal and head to the moon. Which, again, does kind of feel like the play still, unless you're really, again, feeling behind and don't want to lose to Zot 1 here, but, again, at the reset here, J-Mac is up a Sheila 1 and Sheila 2, the double dip in 2, so, again, that's not a exactly short path for, J-Mac here, as we do see Ruby, and has to know it is Ruby, because we've already seen elements here.
Yep, and the reset on J-Mac's side makes a lot of sense because J-Mac knows that she has access to every boss except Zot 2. And there's no point in fighting that Ruby. It would have to be exactly the Earth Crystal with exactly 2 bosses in Zot. Now we know there's exactly 1 boss at least in Zot. So that play could definitely have worked out. But with this being the gauntlet, if there's, let's say, Mylon and Evil Wall on the moon, or even if it's like 1 on the moon at the top of the moon and 1 on the giant, I think that's okay for J-Mac. But Dave, by finding this gauntlet, if J-Mac does not do this Zot 1 play, I think in order for Dave to lose, it would have to basically be both on the giant and him go moon. It's kind of a really weird logical dance that we have to do at this point to kind of figure out where our runners stand, as Dave has now done 6 of his 7 bosses, and J-Mac is going to miss out on that gauntlet. So the Mylon and the Evil Wall have to be very close together, either on the moon or on the giant. They can't be split apart, I don't think, unless it's 1 at the top of the moon, 1 on the giant. I think if there's a boss at the bottom of the moon, I think J-Mac's in trouble here.
Yeah, I would say if there's a boss in like K Bahamut here, as it is one of the it's the peekable check here. So both runners are going to do it, as J-Mac does step back in for a rest here. But as you're saying, I think best case, if it's not double required giant for J-Mac, would be more of a like putting them like real close together, like I'd say like White Spear and Ribbon Room maybe.
Yeah. Or even like White Spear, Masa Altar, or Ribbon Room, Masa Altar, something like that. Now Dave does have to do this whole pan loop, so J-Mac does still have all of that time up, from all the traveling that Dave has to do. This is not a short loop to do. to do Sheila 1 into the pan, back to Sheila bonking, back to Sheila turning in the pan to get the Darkness Crystal, plus the launching of the whale cutscene. We're probably talking a 5-minute cushion here on Dave's side, but he is up that gauntlet. Now, granted, the gauntlet plus the walk up and down Zot is not a quick thing either. So it's a very strange existence that we find ourselves in for the path for both runners. I think this is extraordinarily close. I don't know how you would go through and put odds on it right now as to who's ahead or behind. And there is JMac peaking Value Cave and now heading Giant. Without the pass, I like this routing from JMac. You want to try to not double dip the LST?
Yeah, I agree, and I might have actually, even before K Bahamut, again, with JMac's situation at 5 out of 7, not knowing Zot 1 is in the picture, I actually do, again, sans pass there. If I had pass, of course, I'd just peek the, face check the LST there, but yeah. Again, in Dave's position, however, with 6 out of 7 and no pass, I just have to find 1. So at that point, if I'm Dave, I'm probably face checking the entire LST.
Yeah, I think in Dave's position, you're basically saying at that point, if it's 2 bosses behind either the Earth Crystal or 2 bosses on the Giant, that you're willing to just, say GG to the opponent at that point. That you are betting on, with the 9 remaining boss spots that you have, that the 6 on the Moon, 1 boss is going to be there, as opposed to those 3 outlier locations. So Dave is in a situation where his choices, I think, are a lot more linear. JMac has a lot more flexibility, plus a lot more, honestly, open. Does have the Twin Harp open, does have Zot 1 open, plus the Giant and the Moon, and has had those trials and tribulations with some fights. So it's a very, very interesting path here, and I do wonder if Dave is going to forge while he's underground here. There's a lot of decent hits for this party from the forge. But JMac is showing us at Giant 1, 65,000 HP of the evilest of walls. That's not a fun fight, but it's a required fight.
Yeah, and JMac loves to see this, as, again, this is not bode, it bodes worse for Dave here, as, again, I was about to, right before we got there, the trolliest of possibilities with it being, possibly being, man, I can talk today, behind either Zot 2 or Package is still a thing here. The Moon could still, in this case, be completely haunted.
Well, you're able to have your struggles with talking, but at least you didn't burp at the audience. So, you've got one up on me today. That's for darn sure. Talking issues aside. We see a Poison Axe going on Kane here, on Sid here. Rosa, though, is getting bopped pretty good, and I do like this Moon Veil going up. I think I would have liked it a little more on Rosa, just to keep her protected, but looks like we're going to get the Zerkers going here. This is not a free fight. It's very slow. You're going to have to keep your blinks up. You're going to have to keep your party well maintained. But JMac should be through this. The only issue is we are definitely going to see some crushes, because we are not getting that damage out. Maybe a Silk Web could come in handy here. It looks like we're even 2ing Rosa. Not going to help so much with the HP side of things, but we'll get her some MP back. And we need to get the Zerks going on this edge, which looks like we are now.
Yeah, I'd say that wall, I believe, has moved about 6 times already here. Yeah. So again, I believe it moved 16 times before Crush Phase here. The blinks are coming out. These 2 Zerkers are going to be able to put out some pretty obscene damage here, especially double Masamune Edge here. But again, yeah, we're 3 boss slots. Again, I believe Dave's path to victory here is just head straight to the Moon here. We know that K Bahamut is not thinking. Here comes the Silk Web from Sid. Also a really good idea here. It just kind of depends on just how much this party can actually put out now.
Yeah, we're putting out around 5,000 around, which means that we're probably looking at seeing 2 or 3 crushes. Unfortunately, Sid gets bopped there, and this was one of the issues with taking a while to get the Zerks going and uh, not having the Moon Veil on Rosa is that we have a situation now where we're kind of toggling, trying to keep people alive, um, and we're going to be running a little thin here. It doesn't help that Edge hasn't been hit, but it's a bit of a rough situation here. We definitely want that Sid alive as a crush target also, but now we need to get that blink back up on Rosa again, and she could die in the interim here, which would probably be a wipe. Finally a hit goes to Edge, which is good. That'll buy J-Mac some time, but we are rapidly approaching crush phase. Need to get that Sid up as an extra target.
Unfortunately, sending even more. Rosa still has a separate blink up. Is going for life pod. Yeah, again, does need to get more targets up for crush. Rosa going down to crush, not bad. Sid going down to crush, just needs to keep those two berserkers still just not going down to it here. The damage still coming out, and we are in crush phase. So, oh no, down goes the Dragoon here. So, yeah, just got to pick up who we can here, as just really need those berserkers to not die.
Yeah, the issue is now if Edge goes down, we are not in a great place. And there goes Edge. Yeah, this is not good. Because we have no Zerkers going, we have no Q jamming. We need to get Zerkers going again because we have nobody actively Zerking. This means that if either Rosa or Edge gets hit, we're in trouble here. Now the way that the party order is lining up, Edge is turn popped while he's being berserked. We need to get a life potion on Kane. This needs to not hit Sid. It does. We're in trouble. This is where this spot gets really, really awkward. Edge also might be broken here because he got zerked too quickly after getting alive. And this is also where something like a ribbon could come in handy, but we're zerking Kane. This means that we need this hit or the next hit. Wow. Okay,
oh,
we got there.
Wow, we did get there. Huge for J-Mac. Unfortunately, Edge doesn't get the levels. Kane, good for them there. We did see Octomam on the Mirror Altar, so Dave has 4 bullets left here in terms of bosses left on the LST here, as J-Mac is going to towel off the forehead, as I believe there is probably a lot of sweat going on there. Again, any fight you can walk away from is a good fight here, so yeah, take a moment, life everybody up, throw a tent or two. Unfortunately, no cabins, so Rosa still has most of her MP after that full heal, though. So yeah, just life's going out to everybody who matters. Cure 4 is also going out, and yeah, just gonna see again. Now, if this is again, we still have the double giant dream here. It is alive. And we're having that moment of truth come in here momentarily.
Yeah, this is, what, a 1 in 8? Based on remaining bosses with the package, Zatu, the 4 on the Moon. That's a Water Hag, which you take this fight and you just hold A and you get through it. But this means that J-Mac probably needs the remaining boss to be at the package or Zatu. And would have to also check one of them, or go Zot 1 after landing from the Giant. The interesting thing with completing the Giant is that it is going to put her right in the area of Ebwin, which is as close to Troya as you are going to get. But if Dave finds Mylon up in the Moon, there's just not going to be enough time. So depending who you are rooting for, I root for both of these runners because they're both amazing people. Depending who you're rooting for, though, you want different outcomes from the Moon checks and the other checks that our runners are going to do.
Yep, just a Leviathan in the White Spear room. Ribbon room has just Bahamut, down to 2 bosses left for Dave here. Yeah, but like you said, yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah, does J-Mac decide that Troya is the play, or yeah, Zot 1 could be the play here? Again, does have the package as well. Again, the whole thing is, again, does J-Mac feel behind enough to just, is landing the, oh no, is going back up to LST there, so, unfortunately, is probably going to check the LST here, and there's just Paled him at the Ogopogo slot. That just leaves Crystal Room, but Moon could be haunted. JMac thinking about it for a moment here. But the only boss slot we have left here... Now, here's the question. If Dave if strikes out completely here, I mean, Dave's probably headed straight to the Giant after this, you would think, right?
Yeah, I think Dave, again, he's had to me, what has felt like a much more linear route through the seed. I think that the Giant is on his plate, and then after that, probably the package. I think that JMac is the one who's been kind of put to the test here as to where to go routing-wise. And as slow as that Gauntlet as Ot 1 was, Evil Wall at Giant 1 is also pretty dang slow. And there is Antlion in its most natural of habitats. That is Antlion at the Crystal Sword Altar, which means that we have either Zot 2 or the package as Mylon and friends, if I am not mistaken. We have seen everything else.
Yeah, that's what I've got here too. So JMac is going to, Dave is going to the Giant, is going to get the semi-bad news. Now, the big thing is, Dave did buy a few more Bacchus wines, seems a little more into use them, does have a little bit of a level advantage that he had on JMac too. That wall is not free, but it should be easier.
Yeah, JMac has way more levels now, being a full Giant complete. But when she got up there, JMac had far fewer levels in Dave's party, as he had grinded fully to nuke on Rydia before ever going to the moon. So he is going to have a much easier time with that wall, primarily just the defensive part of things, where, JMac's characters were taking, 800 to 1100 damage a punch, and there's 16 punches you have to navigate through. I think Dave can walk off the majority of those punches, where JMac was very much so not able to. I still think it's about a 50-50 prop whether we see a crush phase on Dave's side, and that primarily involves does Rydia live or not, because if she can get some nukes out to supplement the Zerker damage, that wall is going to crumble in a hurry.
Yeah, and actually I believe Dave, I'm pretty sure that black belt that was bought far earlier in the seed, again, not the most defense in the world, and, definitely a little bit more attack power now that they're both on Masamune parity here. But given between the two here, that edge should be taking less damage, and again, with, I love the blink spell, but I was kind of wondering on JMac's side, yeah, it was probably the right thing to do there, but, Dave could get away with, hey, having a couple people take a few pops if Evil Wall's feeling nice enough, and then just going straight to tier 4s. But yeah, Kane drinking wine immediately. I'm going to assume Edge is going to follow suit. Yes, he is. Yeah, so I believe even in the back row, that Rydia should be able to take a bop or two as well. And oh yeah, Rose is actually going to contribute with white here.
Yeah, white, nuke, Zerker hits, Evil Wall not going to have the best of times here. We will need to put Tella on emergency blink duty, but this is going to be a ton of damage coming out from the Evil Wall here. Excuse me, coming out onto the Evil Wall here. Big ol' nuke from Rydia. Basically no magic defense in this spot. But, well, there's a... Kane has eaten basically every hit except one to this point. So, nice of him to play cover Cecil, Paladin, cosplayer, whatever he's doing, but he probably needs to stop that before he falls over.
Yeah, Evil Wall, just getting kind of the, unfortunately, seems to have a short memory, seems to remember what happened on JMac's side, seems to remember who got that finishing blow there. Says, I don't want to deal with this Dragoon, I'm going to kill the Dragoon first here, despite the whites and nukes raining down on its head there.
Yeah, some multi-world action happening here where the Dragoon on Dave's side is suffering for the actions of the Dragoon on JMac's side. Definitely a thing that's happening totally, as it was written and as expected, because that's how this game works. It always knows, even if there's no way it could.
Yep, that one finally turning its attention to the summoner there, and yeah, probably does want to face down this Tella here. Again, it's the whole thing. Oh no, that Tella, curse ring or not, that's what, 400,000 XP going to Tella there?
That's fine. It'll push him past the 800 HP mark, so he won't be at 0 agility. He'll be well beyond that. I think he's going to be probably in the 3 natural agility after or excuse me, 18 natural agility, maybe 3-ish after the curse ring is applied. So Tella's going to be fine here, no major issues on Dave's side. But that is a crystal coming out for Dave. That is 7 bosses completed. Dave does have to walk the Lunar subterrain, but he is firmly in the driver's seat right now. This is officially, now we can say, Dave's race to lose.
Yeah, JMac has checked every boss in the LST, and now unfortunately has the bad news and is just going back to pick up that Enterprise here, but again, is down to really 2 options here, Package or Zot 1. We know that one of them is a definite go mode here, Crystal. We know that the other one is potentially a go mode here. And while Zot 1 might be a faster check on most days, that Gauntlet makes things, and JMac is going to give us the package check. So we'll know very soon if it was either at Zot 2 or if it was at or if it's at the package here.
Yeah, and very exciting stuff. We see Dave landing the whale, heading back up to the moon, and going to begin his descent into the lunar core. While JMac is going to give us a peek at that package, and the winner of this race does get the honor of facing off against when they play either Apex Corvid or Sorbius. That is kind of where this bracket has led us to in the waning portion, with Zeke waiting in the wings in round 7. So ultimately a battle to face off against Zeke. And then much further down the road, we have some spots already filled as well from results otherwise in the tournament. But this is going to give one of these runners a good path to face off against another excellent runner in either Apex Corvid or Sorbius looking forward.
Yeah, and again, I mean, yeah, Engidave is in the driver's seat. I would say that Z fight isn't totally free, but given Dave's A, experience with this, and B, that the sheer overwhelming power that our party now has here, I mean, I'm pretty sure Edge and Rosa could just solo the fight if they solo wanted to.
Yeah, what we would affectionately call power couple strats. You'd be able to just go through, have Edge drink some wine, or Zerk up, or dart some things, and then Rosa Zerk him. She's going to be at or near 2,700 health, virtually unkillable with something like a crystal ring on. I know we have a life staff from early on in Eblin. That would be a very clear path to victory if it came down to just 2 people. I don't think it'll come to that. I think we'll be dealing enough damage either with hybrid or with reflex strats with darting, depending how Dave wants to go about this. But there is our Mylon and friends at the package all along. That is going to be a bit of a feels bad. If there was a pass in JMac's inventory, this would have been extraordinarily close at this point, but we never found the pass for our runners. Dave saying saving, who needs saving? There's even an emote about always be saving, but Dave doesn't need it. He has said that we are going to go fight the big bad final boss without a save. If he has to do the giant all over again, so be it. He's staking his claim to this race right now. And we see a bunch of Z flags coming out in chat, and I do. If I'm not mistaken, we're not being told to take a nap. We're being told that that we're not allowed to put the final boss in Antlion Cave to Big Bang us. We're being told something different. Is that correct?
I mean, I've heard we're able to put a Wyvern there who could potentially have Big Bang, but those are other flags. No, we can't move Zeromus. He's too big. He has too much script. He might even have a hat on some days here. But unfortunately, we can't really move him around, so we still have to keep him locked up in the Lunar Chamber here, doing his final boss thing. But hey, Zeromus wants to dress up too and get in this whole randomizer spirit here. So the big question here is, just as always, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
And of course, the obligatories. Does it have a hat? Is it cute? Does the hat have a butt? Can a butt have a hat? And all those other things.
I mean, I feel like you could put a hat just about anywhere. Whether the hat stays on or not, well, that's that's question for sages that might be in this party here. I mean, Tella is a sage, right?
Sure. I mean, Tella loses stats basically as he levels up, except for agility. So I don't know how sage-like that is to level up and lose ability. You know, whatever. That though, that's some Lavos stuff coming out from Chrono Trigger, and yeah, nuke it, hit it with white spells, zerk it.
Oh, looks like we called it here. Looks like we've got, the first nuke's coming out to just nerf the first Big Bang there. Edge is readying up the spoon as we speak. I think you called it. We are going to probably be getting Pure Reflect with darts here, and even better, as Lavosmus does say, I hate Troons as well, but Kane came prepared this time, bouncing that counter nuke off of himself and just laughing a little bit.
Yeah, and to kind of explain what's happening with the reflex strats here, the Zeromus script is such that after 61,000 damage, there is an HP refill. However, if there is no direct damage dealt beyond the 45,000 HP threshold to that 61,000 HP threshold, what will happen is the refill will just simply never happen. So what you're seeing Dave do here is all of the damage is being reflected, except for that initial spoon dart that came out from Edge. So he was able to push an extra 10,000 damage. So that spoon that we got to start the seed is basically going to be Edge's last action to finish the seed. But we're just going to see white casts and see nuke casts. And Dave is going to finish out the fight with reflected damage and not even going to worry about that HP refill. So we'll only have to do about 60,000 total damage, and the fight will end.
And again, JMac is, again, for just having to go through and checked pretty much every boss that is not Zot 1 or Zot 2 at this point, is walking into this Lavosmus fight here. Again, just super close, actually. Again, Dave is in the driver's seat, but to be this close despite doing all those checks, I mean, I know the pain of doing a 32 out of 33, but yeah.
And Dave has been counting. He has an X-Gal queued up, so he knows that if this X-Gal dart has to fire, it will be lethal damage, but it won't be needed because that white text box has not left the screen. Lavosmus is shaking, and that means that the fight is over. And Engidave is our winner this afternoon, advancing on in the Blue Moon Waning bracket with an official time of 1:38.57, and we'll see if we can get him in for an interview.
We saved the future, hooray!
Or did we save the past?
Yes.
I'm in a social construct, but what is not a social construct is Engidave, our winner this evening. That makes no sense, but it is what it is. That's how these things go. How's it going, Dave? GG's to you.
So, last locationing. It's a thing.
Yeah, take us through, because you did everything in your power to decide that Sheila 1 did not exist. And that included the Luca check, which could not give a key item, Zot 1, which could not give a key item. You were committed, hard committed to just not doing Sheila 1. Is that just a thing you don't like to do that without the pan, or what was kind of the thought process?
My thought process then was, I have Twin Harp, I have Baron Key, I have a bunch of checks I can make that are both boss and key item checks. And I like spying Luca while I'm in the neighborhood. It just, So that was the idea for doing Baron and Twin Harp first, was they're both key item and boss checks.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And, peaking Luca, we kind of thought, and I wonder if this was the case, when you peaked Luca, was that a feeling of, I'm just in the area? Was it a feeling of,
I'm in the area.
I think I've played well and I might be ahead and I can play defensively? Was there any of that in your routing as well?
It's mostly I was in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So and we've timed it, it's about, what, a minute 9 or so to get down there?
Sounds right.
Well, let's go back to the very beginning of the seed. You started with a spoon. You
Oh,
you of course went on a grand old character hunt because, well, Spoonward is a heck of a thing,
yes.
but of course didn't exist. Um, you were given the opportunity, a couple of good targets on ordeals to dart the spoon, knowing that Edward was not in the party. You opted not to dart the spoon at either the orb or the back attack Val. Was there something else you were consider saving it for, where you just didn't want to get rid of that cutlery right away?
Hook. Hook 1 can just be super rude at times, like an evil wall there, or even a Beigen there could just be super rude.
Mm-hmm.
And I had other lesser darts to use on the orbs, and a cane to deal with the Val. So, not necessarily needed to get through that, or didn't necessarily need to use the spoon right then.
Yeah, fair enough. I have one last question for you, seed related. You were at 6 of 7 bosses, obviously, when you launched the whale, and you decided, hey, I'm going to go to the moon because 6 is greater than 2. Was there any thought in the back of your mind, not having a pass, should I go giant first, or were you pretty much committed to that 6 is greater than 2 mentality?
I was playing the odds there. The odds were in favor of one of those 6 bosses having something. The randomizer doesn't care.
As it is wont to do, yes.
And then at that point, I went giant first. I had the package, and I figured if it's package and JMax checked it, it's a boss. I am in danger. So I was playing on a double giant at that point. JMac and I discussed later. I found a package had value.
Yeah, we were definitely thinking that the main point of divergence there, that the Rex banner, and that's kind of the thing there. That was, I'm guessing, after checking that Twin Harp, I'm guessing just another I'm in the area, let's go.
No, this was I'm feeling behind at this point because I've last location of darkness. Let's make a gamble. Because now I knew it was behind Sheila. I knew it was behind Sheila.
I dare say a gamble that paid off, as it has put you through to the next round. Kind of looking forward to that next round, you're up against potentially either Apex Corvid or Sorbius, whoever comes out victorious in that match. Against either of those wonderful runners as well. Anything you'd be looking to change? Anything you'd be looking to, kind of scout on them to glean some information? Where are you kind of at on that?
I've raced Sorbius quite a bit, just in campfire races and stuff. So I know he's an incredible runner. So I can't make these kind of just last location stuff. And if there was a few errors here and there that I got to clean up, like accidentally killing my cane against the Demus.
We did notice that. I was wondering if you were trying to preserve him as an anchor or what was going on.
Accidentally.
But yeah, looked like it was an accidental thing. We figured that out after some brief discussion.
Meanwhile, real quick, we do have the crack boom here. JMac, again, GG's for JMac, who has finished at 144.26. And again, well played all around here.
Yeah, GG's to JMac. Well, I don't have anything else for you, Dave. Nighter, do you have any questions for our winner this afternoon, Engidave?
Nothing seed related so much. I mean, did you get to stop shaking right now? Because again, you had between package Giant 2 and yeah, you were pretty much at 30 out of 33, I believe. There. I mean, that's never a good feeling. I can attest.
Zot 2, Giant 2, package. We only 3. I hadn't checked. So I was at 31 bosses.
Yeah, but yeah, again, just get some time to rewind, get some time to refill, and we'll be more than happy to see you next week.
If I look forward to it.
GG again.
GG, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, and with that, that was our winner this afternoon, Engidave. Again, 138.57 official time. And we are also now joined by JMac, former Ninja Frog world record holder JMac,
Oh,
and
jeez
possessor of a new button after this race, JMac. Uh, a dear friend of mine you are, but I'm just going to lead with the heavy hitting stuff. Uh, how did you feel after Dwarf Castle, and what changes had to be made to your routing and your thinking for the rest of the seed?
Well, immediately I was like, well, I guess I need to borrow a button. I've already made someone. So super cool. Also, I was like, well, that's it. Now I have to gamble because I know Dave and I know that I can keep up with him if I make 0 mistakes. And that was a 4.5-minute mistake. So after I cleared the underground pretty like straightforward, I knew in the back of my head, I kept asking myself, what would Dave do? And then I did the opposite. So I knew Dave would go to the moon first. So I did giant, got lucky. After I face cleared, after I, face checked all of the moon and came back down, and I was like, okay, where's boss number 7? I was like, well, if I know Dave is gonna land and do Twin Harp and Zot 1, so I'm gonna go do package. And got lucky. It was my only way to try and catch up, and I was about 5 minutes behind, so
Well,
Win some, lose some.
You ran a heck of a race, and you were actually completely even. I think within what night do 5 or 10 seconds on the hook route.
Oh yeah,
like it was extraordinarily close.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure bosses were crumbling at the same time.
Yeah.
So y'all were definitely neck and neck, and you were right on in your assessment that you were definitely sticking with Dave. Kind of going toe and toe on raw speed. The Fey March issue that you had with the Ogopogo and the dwarf issue obviously kind of changed how you played from there, which to my eyes, and I think to a lot of folks' eyes, is probably correct, because if you're just playing in a straight line at that point, you're probably in danger.
Yeah.
It's very interesting on the watch back, and I won't try to spoil too much of it for you because I know you'll want to watch this back. But you playing to do the things Dave was not going to do, interestingly played into exactly what he did. You'll find that the meta game was strong on this one, and I won't go too much more into that, so you can enjoy it on the watch back.
I mean, that's what happens when you race someone that you race casually a lot. So you end up predicting and then metagaming the metagame, and then metagaming the metagaming the metagame. Anyway, it's an Inception, FE Inception.
Metaception.
Also, snort count for this race, for anyone who wants to know, was 1. Because of a reaction to my naming scheme in my own chat, when I knew it popped up on the screen. So apparently people loved it. I hope you did. I hope you sang.
There was limited singing, and by limited I mean none. But there was definitely acknowledgement of a fantastic naming scheme. I think shirtless Golbez is something we can all agree on far and wide. And if anybody disagrees, well, I'm not allowed to say I'll fight them because we don't do that. But
No.
I will have stern words for you. Because I am passionate about shirtless Golbez as well.
Fighting unacceptable, newspapers totally acceptable.
Yes.
But yeah, this tournament has been fun. I've learned a lot playing Blue Moon. But also I'm kind of okay with being done for now. So yeah, excited to now just focus on comms and tracking for a little bit.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to have you around, in the campfire area, in the commentary booth, on tracking, just around in general. You're an overall very delightful person, JMac, and we're happy to see you do well in the tournament. We'll see if you're still allowed in the Pink Puff League. I hope that you are, but if not, you're a very well deserved graduate of that as well.
Well, thank you. And GG's to Dave, because I played better because I knew I was racing him because he's great. Thank you to Possum and Naitu for these comms I can't wait to watch back. Pankraz for rolling and restreaming, and for Mecha for pushing all the buttons and then sometimes backtracking and then pushing them again and then backtracking and push. Anyway, thanks, Mecha.
You know, I kind of missed it because we did the whole underground set, and then I was known for saying no. He reset out of that magma key. We don't have to say the line, and then we said the line anyway. But I think I was a little bit more focused on the fact that we had to mute Possum on the tarp again. So
What? Possum.
They just don't let me talk. It's fine, whatever.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not even going to totally, just say I was maybe aiding and abetting, but I kind of was.
But yeah, so that's all for me for now. Y'all have a
Well,
good night.
You as
GG's
well.
again, J-Mac.
Thank you.
All right, with that here, I believe that is our time here, at least on this stream that is up. Again, just want to echo out the thanks here for our restreamer X Pankraz, our tracker Mecha, my commentary partner, who is just a blast to commentate with anybody, but especially Possum, who we kind of at least can kind of bounce off those kind of jokes and knowledge in hand there. But again, no spoilers here. We are going to kick this over to RPG Limit Break here, where we do have, I believe that's game 2 of Funnel Cakes and Curios. I believe that is, that's the finals for Blue Moon Waxing there. So again, a pretty hype match over there. And real quick, I guess final thoughts here from Possum as well.
Yeah, a heck of a race, as almost all of them are. Really down to the wire stuff. Great performance from both Engidave, our winner, and also J-Mac, our runner-up today. Thanks again to everyone behind the scenes, Pankraz, Mechalink, Naitu, of course, my co-commentator, the runners, everyone in chat, everyone behind the scenes. Everyone is amazing. Y'all do wonderful work, and hope we get to enjoy the race on RPG Limit Break that is happening right now, that game 2. And then for tomorrow, fairly light schedule, if required, game 3 of Curios and Funnel Cakes will be at 7 o'clock Eastern. But otherwise, if there is no game 3, which is always a possibility, but we always hope for game 3, that would be the first day of no free enterprise in quite a long time, tournament-wise. So we shall see. Let's go over to RPG Limit Break and cheer on all of our friends over on that side of things.
I mean, we're always hoping for even more free enterprise, and I'm just hoping for or more races here. So, nothing against whoever won game run. I commentated that match. I should know this. But yes, game 3 would be awesome just because, hey, more free enterprise, a little more, less for the runners, but hey, it's character building, right?
Absolutely, and we are all characters, but we can always build a little bit more. So with that, y'all, let's go head over to RPG Limit Break. No spoilers, or you will get the bonk, and we'll catch y'all later today and tomorrow. Bye-bye, everyone.